Don't believe I have to remind you that this mission is top secret. Everything that you do will be rejected. Many of our best men have been on this mission before. We sent in countless swabs, and we have uncovered massive levels of intel. But all those that we have caught, their mouths are shut tighter than Fort Knox. Every time we have a good lead, we come up short and empty-handed. This time, however, we're sending you undercover. You're gonna join them, become one of them, watch them, listen to them, and hopefully not be buried by them. We've lost a lot of the best boys we've got. We've lost countless taxpayers' dollars. You cannot become another casualty. Backroom deals, scumbags. We don't know what they're capable of, but we think we know what you're capable of. So be patient and listen. They're out there somewhere. They're out there.
And we are live once again this Monday. Ah! My cable. Shit. Okay, I'm good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trade and Raid podcast. I am your host, Lord Glarp, the Lord of Glarps, the Lord of all that Glarps. Few have Glarped before me, none shall Glarp after me. And I am here with my disembodied co-host, Sage. Say hi, Sage.
Hi, Sage.
Ah.
I did the thing.
Classic. No one saw it coming. And we also have another disembodied voice for the first time on the podcast, and it's a short life of 16 episodes. The frick? How do I pronounce it again?
Okay.
It's only been like 2 minutes, you know. I keep wanting to say ochre, like almost like ogre, but like ochre.
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, it's the Bob Ross color, right?
Ochre. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We have ochre here. Ochre heard about one of our segments and wanted to come chime in. Has some hot takes, no doubt.
Some my best, but thanks.
Some controversial stances and opinions. Which will be a nice change of pace from me and Sage agreeing on everything all the time. Sage and I have had, I think, one just the most minor of mild disagreements ever. And it was about feeding animals, and I don't think we were actually that far off. We're far too reasonable around here.
What's that like?
As long as we keep away from like politics, I think that's the.
Yeah,
all right.
I think that's the right move.
All right, so for now on, religion and politics and gaming. That's going to be our trifecta from here on forward.
Oh no!
I like that, and I'm out. So today we have segments like we do every podcast. We have 3 segments, much like we do in most podcasts. But today we're doing a bit of a twist, bit of a change, something a little out there. Today we have a good podcast planned, unlike the shitty podcast that you're all used to and grown accustomed to. This one's going to be good. So you have that to look forward to.
Do you pinky promise?
With
your soul pinky?
I'll with your soul pinky. Ugh.
Isn't that a Guilty Gear character? Never mind.
I don't know. Soul Pinky just instantly makes me think of Soul from Soul Eater, because he shoots his guns with his pinkies. Shoot you with my soul pinky. We have some retro gaming news we're going to go over. Retro stuff happening, stuff in the retro world. Including my, I would say one of, if not in the top 3 of my favorite Zelda games. Some news going on with that. Final Fantasy XIV, we have 14 news. I have an entire wizard's outfit. I have a black mage cosplay. I have a whole bunch of Final Fantasy XIV inspired clothing, and I didn't think to wear any of it. I'm feeling silly now that I'm thinking and talking about it out loud. What else we got going on? Oh, our final segment's going to be kind of a little out there. It's just random. It's random junk that I swept up off the floor that we're going to talk about, basically.
Oh, like the restaurant with the mess plate?
Yeah.
Sort of whatever you feel like talking about, just...
Kinda, yeah. I've noticed that it's very hard to put together cohesive segments 3 days a week. 3 segments, 3 days a week, 4 topics per segment. It's rough. Especially since there's news that I like, that I want to talk about, that just does not fit with anything. You know, it was like I wanted to talk about pizza scented Xbox controllers. I wanted to talk about it so bad, and I was like, I guess we're just going to talk about controllers because it's such an odd piece of news. I ended up really enjoying talking about controllers, though.
But I saw that controller, and I didn't think it was real.
Me neither. I was, when they said that, I was like, okay, so maybe it's like in the box or something. There's like a scent like around it. And then I can't remember what Sage said. Sage said something really fucked up. Sage, do you remember the fucked up thing you said about the controllers? It's on the peripheral of my memory. Oh, that it would be moisture activated. So like the more you hold the controllers in sweat,
you get sweaty fingers. Yep.
That it like bleeds the smell of pizza the more you sweat. I was like, so nasty.
You know something that did make me think of? There's this really weird kind of era that they haven't really done anything much with it yet, but there was like a really awkward immersion push for like PC gaming, and they were coming out with these really weird peripherals, like a set of fans that you would place around you that would, games that supported it, like the 1 or 2 games, like the different fans, if you turned around, the fans would actually like blow wind at you in the direction that you were looking in the game. And they tried doing a thing with like scents, so you'd have a scented fan that had like 12 different scent cartridges. So depending on like what your environment, would smell like, it would release a scent for it. It reminded me of that like really weird stuff. And everyone's like, there's something to be said about visual immersion and like audio immersion with like surround sound. But once you have those 2 things down, like if I'm crawling around the sewers in like Fallout or something, I don't want to smell it. I don't.
Like imagine playing Dishonored and crawling around the streets, the sewers, and then going,
oh god,
and just swearing being out loud.
Because it's like there's like whaling stuff and like sea. It's like a port. You just smell like fish constantly. Blah.
See, like, I don't know if either of you played like Steel Battalion. I never owned Steel Battalion. Are you either familiar with that?
Negative.
It's got big metal robots in it, doesn't it? Like old school though, like 1800s inspired.
So Steel Battalion was a game, I think, on the original Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. But you had to buy. Well, not had to, I suppose, but the whole gimmick was that you would buy a $300 like a Mech Warrior console.
Oh, I do remember that. Console. Yep, I do remember that.
Like dual joysticks and a bunch of buttons, and it was all PvP focused. If you died or your mech was compromised, you had to physically lift up a case and hit an eject button for your pilot in the game to eject and save your. It's just we peaked there, and then now we're into smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
I like it.
I'm just picturing We Happy Few with all the rotting corpses. Smell-o-vision.
So, how do I pronounce the name again?
Ochre.
Ochre. I need a visual reminder. I think what happened is I said it wrong in my mind, and now I
Is
Ochre.
that the childhood embarrassment of misspelling one time that word's forever cursed?
I got this thing where if I say someone's name wrong the first time, it's like cemented in my memory as that name. I could go like a year without seeing them, and as soon as I see them, that incorrect name will be the first thing that just instantly comes to mind.
Been there.
That's why so now because I said ogre and I associated the name with ogre is the only thing I can think of. Unfortunate. So
That's fine.
Ochre, you're a streamer, yeah?
I mean, I have dabbled in streaming months ago. Yes. I guess if we're gonna be inclusive, yes, I am.
Nice. What's your history with gaming? Just so the people know what you got going on.
Do you want the TLDR or do you want like the Wayback Machine?
Oh, definitely the TLDR.
I've been a gamer for most of my life. Started when I was a kid. I watched my brother play on his Sega Genesis, and then I grew up in arcades. And now that I have the power or the ability to harness all that power in the mid-sized tower under my desk, I've always been an avid gamer.
Nice. What's your obviously asking a gamer their favorite game is a rough one. Let's say what are two games that would appear in your top 10?
Ignoring playtime, I think actually one of my surprise favorites was Hades. I was sort of recommended that on a whim, and then I took it, and I think that game is arguably one of the best in the genre, and from a art perspective, fantastic. And the other one would have to be a tie between either Final Fantasy XIV, which is where and Team Fortress 2. Both I have a very strong attachment to TF2. Based on who I played with and what sort of the climate of that time was.
Did you try the 100 player update?
I'm not familiar with that, but
So,
it sounds like chaos.
The day before yesterday, they increased the player cap on servers for Team Fortress 2 to 100.
From what, 24?
To do it either.
I think it was from 32. Yeah, and in the patch notes, they recommended you not do it.
Wait, but are you saying people were playing Dust Bowl with 100 players?
It's every game type, every map, 100 players, new cap.
Lord Almighty!
And we watched a little snippet of what the madness looks like, and it is absolutely madness.
I can only imagine how many engineers and how many spies.
Well, the part we watched, it was a map with like 2 choke points, like an attack defense thing, and you had like 8 heavies like doing full open, right at the door, and just an endless stream of grenades being launched over.
Yes.
So I mean, it was like the door would open, and the second like a tiny bit of door got open, enough splash damage got out to just eviscerate anyone on the other side. So like you couldn't get close enough to hold the door open.
I hate to compare the two, but it's like a Normandy Beach situation. The the front door goes down and you get mowed.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looked like. And because of the amount of like blood and guts, the cartoonish amount of blood and guts that can go everywhere, you multiply that by 100.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just carnage. Just pure carnage. Well, it is absolutely fantastic to have you on the podcast. I would call you friend
honored.
of the show, Ochre, but Ochre doesn't watch the show, doesn't like the show, has no interest in the
Look,
show. So, you know,
I'm vaguely friend shaped. So
which is fair. It's kind of the worst show I've ever seen.
not today though. We have a good episode.
Not today.
Yeah, I should say this is probably the best introductory to the show that you could possibly have, since we decided to do a good show this one time. We're gonna see how it goes though. Oh, look at all these wonderful people in chat. Look at all of them. And judging by their names, I'm gonna say that Gun brought them all here. It's good to see y'all. I mean, except for Allie, obviously, who needs to alter their name on their YouTube quickly. You need to go to your YouTube, go to your settings, give yourself a nickname, so you're not broadcasting your name to the world. Oh, hello. Alrighty, should we jump in? Should we dive into it?
Let's make a splash
Let's do it.
can't swim.
like a magic carp.
It's like, we're gonna sink or swim. I can't swim. Well, I guess we know what you're doing then. So this is interesting. It's not, I don't know if it's news, you know. The word news is it's about as loose as us calling this a podcast. You know what I mean? It's kind of like news. It's news.
That's fitting.
I like that. That's true. 8-Bit Do reveals its first ever mechanical keyboard inspired by the classics. This is a $100 swappable TKL keyboard, and it is gorgeous. Look at that. Would you look at it? Hey, do you guys want me to share the thing so you don't gotta wait?
So sure.
I could do that.
But
Then
does
you-
it have
then you can
enough LEDs?
Then you can respond in real time. Not a single LED. This is like it's like an NES controller. Obviously, they got the NES controller off screen right here a little bit. But I like how they have like everything it's inspired by. Old school HPs, floppy disks. I love that there's an A-B button built right into the bottom of it. I'm not sure what these dials up here are. I'm assuming they're volume and sensitivity, possibly. And the two gigantic A-B buttons that they sell with this is fantastic. Here's another
not the
look.
Famicom colorway.
It's so good. So good. I'm so glad you recognize that as the Famicom colors like immediately.
Look, I have to.
It tickles
Not that
me.
there's a nerd card, but I feel like that would not be allowed if I didn't know Famicom.
You know, though, there's more. Oof, I don't want to. The time of the window of people who would be familiar with the Famicom is, let's just say,
Growing ever smaller.
I was gonna say there's more gamers who don't know what it is than do know what it is now, which hurts to think about. Look at those buttons. Look at them. That's amazing.
I have to say, I only own one 8-bit Do product. It's the Pro 2 controller, and I'm a big fan of that one. I can't imagine what their mechanical keyboard is like. High quality.
I was about to say the quality on this thing and the coloring, like they didn't shy away. Even this little I'm gonna call it a splash board up here on the top. It's great.
It's got to be like Sex on the Beach, late 80s, early 90s.
That's
It's like
such a pretty keyboard.
the American version, the Japanese version. Basically. Look at that close up. So
And the Japanese
crisp.
characters for
Mhm.
true authenticity.
Yep. So good. I want it. I may get it. I might get it.
I was gonna say I'm not gullible, but I'm very easily influenced, and
I've seen a ton of cool keyboards. I've seen a ridiculous number of keyboards that I like. I have never seen one that strikes the chord like this much. The hardest decision about buying this is which one, because there's so many reasons individually.
See, you two would never know this about me, but I really wanted to get an NES light gun, the orange and white, or sorry, the orange and gray like Duck Hunt light gun as a tattoo on my forearm. This would pair really, really nicely. Not that I should
Ooh.
do both, but you know.
I like that. I like it. There it is.
Whew, what a pretty
I know.
piece of machinery.
Gotta. Where's my spare towel? It's over here somewhere.
That's that meme of the guy with the 2 buttons, right? Press 1, just buy both.
Yeah. Why not both? The 8-bit do. By the way, we'll talk about 8-bit do. It's up here already. The game accessory maker, known for its amazing third-party wireless controllers, announced its first ever mechanical keyboard with a design inspired by Nintendo's 8-bit home gaming consoles. The 8-bit do retro mechanical keyboard is a, oh boy, is it 10 keyless?
Yep.
10 keyless with 2 different designers and designs. N Edition, which is inspired by the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the Family Edition, inspired by the Famicom. It features wired USB and 2.4G wireless Bluetooth. That's a nice touch, both of them. Mappable super buttons and an independent control panel. I like that. Super buttons. I mean,
imagine,
they didn't have to do that.
but imagine playing COD and like macroing it to like a drop shot.
I like that. The retro mechanical keyboard supports 8-bit Duo's ultimate software, allowing you to key map the keyboard. Features a hot swappable PCB, and is compatible with Windows and Android devices. 8-bit Do notes that the keyboard includes a 2000
milliamp hour.
Milliamp hour Li-ion battery. Claiming that the keyboard can last for 200 hours on a full charge, and that it only takes 4 hours to charge the device fully. It's pretty awesome. And it's
That's
$100. Shipping slated to begin August 10th.
That's actually not bad.
It's not. You know, I've noticed between, and Sage, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it does seem like a lot of the stuff that we've been pulling up has been insane, as far as retro gaming goes, has been insanely reasonably priced. It seems like the Jurassic Park stuff and the limited edition box sets and those things that we looked at were priced well. I feel like $18 a month for a 30 to 40-year-old magazine is not bad. I mean, it just seems like we've been finding some goods, you know? When I saw this initially, I was expecting like a $300 price tag or something.
Yeah, that wouldn't have surprised me.
It's officially licensed. I feel like they could have and they chose not to. And
I mean, go ahead.
That just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I think the 2 buttons alone could have been $20, $30 each. No, copy paste buttons would be very funny.
You see this?
That's good stuff.
They have stick-ons.
That's so smart.
That is great. Yeah. Oh, that is really great.
No, everything you're showing makes me want to get it right now.
Ooh.
That's so good.
The more I zoom in on it and the more I look at it, the more, I'm like, Even this is like the best, like just such an incredible attention to detail for me is the D-pad, the arrows.
Yeah.
Because on the controller, you can't see the arrows. It's just an indent of them. So they even like replicated the indent, even though like, you'd argue that's bad design for a keyboard. They don't care though.
Yeah, you'll be cleaning that out with a toothpick every couple days.
That's more like with my tongue.
I think they know that. I think they know that enthusiasts who buy this are already doing that without having to worry about indents.
I don't know. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect.
That scratched and itched I didn't know I needed.
right. This company is pretty cool. Not a sponsor. Could be though.
Not yet.
8-bit do.
Write me a check.
Yeah, right. This is it this one? F40? Yeah, I was looking at this one earlier.
Ooh,
This was another one that I was like, ooh, oh. Like, oh, hello there. Ah.
that's fantastic looking too. Oh, it's Famicom 40th anniversary. Wow.
Yeah. More officially licensed stuff.
That's crazy. They got that.
I think because of their Pro 2 controller and their this SN30 Pro is probably where oh no, that's not it. Is it the Ultimate? It's a controller. That one. There it is. The 8-bit do, yeah, SN30 Pro wired controller. I think a lot of people recognize this controller. This has been like the go-to retro controller for a while.
Yeah.
It's a good
I'm
one
not
though.
surprised.
I mean, it's the addition of them just adding those thumbsticks, even though it's kind of pulling away from the retro vibe, is I thought really nice. I thought a nice touch because I actually like playing like a PlayStation style game with this kind of controller, or even like mapping N64 to this. If I'm in a position where I get like one USB controller, this is the one. Yep. That or an Xbox controller because I like the way they feel.
Yeah, I see. Real quickly, I didn't grow up with the dual analog system until I was probably an adult. I had an Xbox growing up, and I really enjoyed the offset joysticks. I understand DualShock now, but yeah, I agree.
That one's pretty.
That's so good looking.
Sage and I went through how many did we go through, Sage? Like 40 controllers, maybe? Between the two lists?
Was that a Pass or Smash?
That's basically what we did, yeah. That's basically how it was. But I would say if this had been in that list of custom controllers, I would have put this pretty high up on our list. Yeah, that is...
That looks like a Street Fighter 4 or 5 inspired controller.
It makes me wonder how many... Yeah, that's the Retro Celebrations Edition. It makes me wonder how many companies out there have officially licensed stuff like this, but they sell it like very limited on their own websites. If you know, if you don't, you know. It's official stuff that comes and goes.
I love subtlety.
Good stuff. Can't beat that though. There it is. In my opinion, the best product they've ever made, easily. Okay. We got to get off of it, even though I want to stay here forever. Sage, are you there? You doing good? You doing okay?
Yeah, yep, I'm here.
Okay, I'm not used to you being this quiet, so I was a little concerned.
No, we're all
well-being.
good.
Okay.
I think he was busy putting his credit card information in.
Honestly, I'm not. When it comes to controllers, at least, and stuff like that, I am not a big not easily influenced by nostalgia.
Oh, okay.
I'm generally speaking, I'm much more of a function over form type of person.
I am like so like that same keyboard, that same exact keyboard we just looked at, if it was completely plain and didn't have any of the Nintendo-y-ness to it, I would feel absolutely nothing for it. I would feel zero for it. So it's I am very much so influenced by. However, I will say, like some of those controllers we looked at the other day, Sage, some of those, like, even though I thought they looked really good, they looked so uncomfortable. I never in a million years would
Actually have one for yourself. Yeah.
So it's got to be somewhere in the middle for me. It's got to strike that correct chord with some kind of nerdum thing that means a lot to me. And it has to be fully functional. It can't take away from the kind of subconscious experience. I don't want to think about what I'm touching.
Yeah. Part of my issue is that the brand for peripherals that I gave my heart to no longer exists.
Oh,
So
you've been hurt before.
I just feel bitterness and sadness all the time when it comes to, I'm like, even if I fall in love again, I'm like, I'm just gonna get hurt again when Mad Catz inevitably buys you and then goes bankrupt anyways. What was it all for?
That's so sad. I'm not laughing at your pain, I promise. It's just so sad. It's like, I've been hurt before, but look how pretty it is. No, they're all pretty. That's how they get you. And then they shatter your heart. And it's like, ooh, who hurt you, Sage? Who hurt you?
Mad Catz specifically. I'll say it. Fuck him.
So let's see here. Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages and Seasons hit Nintendo Switch online. We were talking about Ages and Seasons, I think, way back in maybe the first few.
I say one of the first couple, yeah.
And I said then that I thought this was like the most underrated Zelda game, but it was so. I think it's because like it came out probably as the Game Boy Color was kind of getting through its lifespan, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of went under the radar a bit. I personally enjoyed the crap out of both of them. Seasons.
Did you actually have a link cable so that you could play like the whole combined campaign type deal?
No, I could not.
Oh, Oh, man.
I did, however, I liked Seasons more, but that's because I played Seasons first. And I think when I played Ages, part of me felt like I was playing the same game again.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think if I had started with Ages, I think I would have felt the same way.
I wonder how they're gonna do that then, because if this is like the digital version and you download it, how are you gonna do like the full campaign though? Because you had to like port your save file basically over to the other cartridge.
Look at that classic.
I love it.
If I can raise my proverbial hand, I didn't really. This is going to take down my nerd cred. I didn't grow up playing the Legend of Zelda games. What separates this from, these two titles from the ones everyone knows? Majora's Mask and that's 2 3D. Link to the Past and stuff.
These felt like my favorite Zelda game, my absolute favorite Zelda game, Link to the Past. It felt like someone took Link to the Past and like put it on steroids. There is it plays very much so like Link to the Past. And it has just a completely different kind of story. You're in this like lost jungle type place. I feel like Seasons and Ages felt totally different than any other Zelda game, but looks like they just took all of the assets from Link to the Past and made 2 new games out of it. What do you think, Sage?
Yeah, I mean, it. Yeah, it was just great. Is the classic Zelda formula. So like from the first Zelda game, A Link to the Past, and they took a book. They took a note from Pokemon's book, right, with the whole like connect the 2 cartridges or link them together so that they can unlock different things in different games. So, and it was very effective. There were like generally they're the same game, but a few items were a little different or had like an upgrade for one item and not the other in one game and not the other. So there were some differences in what you could do, but I mean the dungeon design was great. They had their own separate stories that actually tied together. Mm-hmm. So if you actually linked together to port your save or use the codes, I forgot about the codes. SNK mentioned that in chat. Thanks for that. They had like a grand story that was really, really neat, and it was like one of those games, kind of like if you had a sibling, and your parents got you both Game Boys, You could play one, they could play the other. Then you'd trade them over. You'd port your saves over and trade them over. It was so unique, for that kind of era.
And they took not only did they take like all the assets and the combat and expand upon it from I keep wanting to say ages. I don't know why I keep wanting to say ages. Link to the Past. In Link to the Past, because you have like the pre and post Ganon takeover world, the traveling through time. They took that and they took that same idea and they expanded upon that as well, of like playing in different areas during different seasons, during different times. So it's like some of the puzzle solving, you could only do it by switching it from like summer to winter, stuff like that. Which it's like that stuff, that kind of thing is pretty normalized now, I would say. But at the time, it was a game changer. It was like so good. And
Expanded upon that as well. Of like,
oop, I'm hearing myself. Who did it? Just kidding. Nintendo has just launched two of the most incredible titles in the Zelda franchise on their Nintendo Switch Online service, and longtime fans of the franchise are losing their minds because these are two games that we have been hoping for since the launch of the Game Boy on NSO. You know, it's interesting. I guess I didn't realize that Seasons and Ages was that popular. I was kind of like, when I heard the news that they were coming out, I was kind of thinking like it would be like a footnote. Just because of I never hear anyone talk about them. Ages and Seasons are some of the most unique entries in the long-running awesome game titles. One particular reason they stand out is because as one of the few times that Nintendo released the reins and allowed a third party to develop something new. I did not know that. The result was essentially Link's Awakening DX with a bunch of new features and new unique storyline. And to say a bunch of new features is really underselling it. The developer flagship Capcom put a ton of really fun new ideas into both games while also making both entries different. Ages has a much stronger focus on combat while Season places its emphasis on puzzles. Each game plays slightly different with their own unique gameplay mechanics, story elements, and overall feel. So whatever your particular favorite elements of a top-down perspective Zelda title are, there's something interesting here for everybody. In conclusion, these incredible Game Boy Color titles released in 2001, nearly 10 years after Link's Awakening, and they entirely delivered and offered something that could stand strong next to that classic. Of course, talks of possible remakes have been going around for several years. Blah, blah, blah. They released July 27th, which was a while ago. Yeah. We got some, we got some older news going on right now. Yeah, this came out July 27th.
Really quickly, I was watching that video as you had in the background. There was a kangaroo?
There was a whole bunch of rideable animals. I think there was like a gator, if I remember
correctly. And
correctly.
a blue bear with wings.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a bunch of critters. And I think they actually took that from Pokemon too. They're like, this surfing on this creature.
Inspired a little by, I think, yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yep. It's the blue bear with wings.
Yeah, there's the blue bear with wings. Also, they had like the first version of like using an angry chicken to fly. Yeah, there it is.
Moment.
It's like a dinosaur, yeah, some kind of lizard thing.
I just saw Link in a kangaroo pouch, and the kangaroo was punching something. I thought, oh, this is a different game.
A very,
Ricky.
very, very different.
Ricky the kangaroo. I remember his name. I don't remember any of the other animal companions' names, but I remember the kangaroo was Ricky.
Look how wild this boss is.
Those were some sprites.
Just look at him. What a thing. Cool. So anybody, who never played the series, and if you got a Nintendo Switch, do yourself a favor. Like give it a go. Give it a try. I guarantee you this stands up the test of time It sure was a game for the ages.
Haha! Oh, you know what's weird? It even had like kind of very mild, more like RPG-ish elements with like the different rings that you could find or craft or whatever, because they could, you know, give Link bonus abilities, a bonus heart, and slightly like longer invincibility frames. Like you could equip different rings. That system was neat too. I liked that a lot.
A lot of the puzzles were actually fun too, like very interactive puzzles, not just go through the maze and dodge the traps kind of thing. Like some really good interactions. So there you go. Had to talk about it. If we're going to talk about retro shit, we got to talk about this. This totally missed my radar. I don't know how I missed it. Wait, would that be Friday? No, it was Thursday, so I have no clue how I missed this for Friday, but here you go, guys. There it is. Better late than never. Next.
Good stuff.
So I just got turned on to this website. It's called Time Extension. And I kind of like it. So if you're looking for a neat, new, kind of nerdy, article-y, gamery website to just look at, it's nice. It's not bad.
That's not Polygon.com.
It's I don't know if it's like, is it like super new? I'm not sure. But yeah, I just recently found it, so there you go. Neat. They have some neat stuff on here. $10,000 Tron arcade game saved from the scrap heap. Released in 1983, Midway's discs of Tron made quite an impact in amusement arcades, released in a special environmental cabinet which allowed players to stand inside for additional immersion. The game is worth around $10,000 due to the fact that it was produced in small numbers due to its size. In these pictures, you guys can see.
Oh, wow. That is not a very large entrance for most people.
Look at the inside of that, though. That's cool. Really cool. Super, super, all that see-through. It's hard enough to find a working example of this machine in the modern era, but video game historian Tim Lapentino recently experienced something you'd assume was impossible in 2023. A disc of Tron cabinet sitting on the curbside. Someone curbed it.
Wow.
I was visiting a family in the Chicago suburbs recently when my niece mentioned she saw some Tron thing sitting on a curb while she was riding her bike through the neighborhood. Of course, we jumped in the car to go take a look, and it was just blocks away from where my parents and other family lived. As we drove up to the spot, I uttered, "What the fuck?" forgetting that my niece was in the car with us. And would you believe it? There it was. An EDOT was sitting by the curb. I mean, I feel like that would be like, because he's an actual video game historian, so he probably saw it. And yeah, I mean, what else could you say?
Yeah, that's some real serendipity there.
The owner of the cab had dragged it down her driveway to the street in hopes that it would be collected as garbage. But at 700 pounds, it was too large to be taken. This implies that the garbage truck went by and tried or like felt it and was like, no, we're not taking that. So, I mean, technically they were too late, but in a, you know, in a good way.
It's truly serendipity.
Got his brother to help. The siblings got some ratchet straps and furniture dollies at a nearby store and rolled the cabinet down the road. Amazingly, upon getting it home, the pair discovered that it was in perfect working order. Quite the find, and it was free. Just to add context, this is absolutely my holy grail game. I don't own any other arcade machines, but being a huge Tron fan and a lover of this game, this would have been my ideal game to someday own. And here it was, just sitting blocks away from where my relatives live. I don't really believe in coincidences, and this is an absolutely nuts story. There you go. I thought it was nuts.
I mean,
$700.
I can't imagine seeing that cabinet and going, no, I'm good.
Right. And if it sat out there all the way through the trash rush and then no one picked it up, and I mean, it's so amazing that a gaming historian got that. That is so cool. Because we talk about gaming historians and game preservation and tech preservation quite a bit on here, I would say. So when I see stuff like this, it's, you know, I think we should all celebrate, because them getting this and them keeping it safe and keeping it in a good place, that's good for everybody. It's good for all of us, I think.
So win-win-win.
Yeah, it's a win for everybody. And I mean, if you look at the controls down here, it's probably hard to see on the stream, but from the best I can tell, let me see if I can open this in a new window. Nope, that is the size. I was seeing if there's a bigger image there. It looks down here like nothing is rubbed off. All the lettering and all the wording down here is pretty solid. It looks like no one has touched this thing. Like this may have been in maybe the person's basement and just sitting there, or in their garage in a corner or something, because the outside does have some cosmetic damage on the outside of the cabinet, but on the inside, this doesn't look worn. So there you go.
Now, I have to ask you two, do you have a dream cabinet? I mean, hypothetical, perfect world, based on issue. What is your dream cabinet?
Do you have one off the rip, Sage?
Yeah, there's a MechWarrior 4 battle pod cabinet. That would be phenomenal if I could get my hands on one. I don't know where I'd put it. Probably in a storage unit. But boy, would that just tickle me.
Is it one with like a pod? Maybe that's not it.
Yeah, I mean it's like an arcade cabinet thing, but it's like one of those big ones that you would actually sit inside of, and it was for MechWarrior 4.
Like that?
Yep, that's exactly it.
That thing is that's a whole lot of cabinet right there.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's a chonker.
You know, I think they have. I think there's a game store in. Almost gave up a name nearby. That has a couple of these in it. You know, me not trying to give away my home address and all that. Own 4 BattleTech mech pods for just $25,000.
Easy. That's
This was in 2012 too. That is those are crazy. What's it got in it? Described as turnkey ready set, the pods are two-tone gray, come complete with a console, mission review in live cam computer, a 42-inch plasma TV, 4 CD panels, and an Ethernet switch and printer, all in excellent condition. I have so many questions. Why does it need a printer? Do you get like a report after you do a mission? Because that would be sick.
A battle report, yeah. I think you
a
do.
printed battle report sounds awesome.
This is how well you did. Better luck next time, cadet.
Yeah, I know I know exactly what I'd want. I'll pull it up.
Wow. I love arcades. It's the only form of actual theft that I can condone.
Arcades, so good. So much fun. Is this it? No. The problem is that this has been remade so many times that to identify the one from my childhood might be an issue. Nope. Because so many. This is the best content, but I'm now hyper fixated on finding the one. Anyway, it was a Jurassic Park pinball machine.
Oh.
And it had a digital screen, but not like a 3D digital screen. It had like just like the light version of that. Can't find it. But it was a pinball machine that came out for the original Jurassic Park movie. But there's so many Jurassic Park pinball machines. Anyway, yeah. Do you have one?
Yeah, it's kind of like a
Okay.
3-way tie, but I'm gonna pick one. I personally would love a Marvel vs. Capcom 1 arcade cabinet, just because that game I really enjoyed growing up. Or, in the spirit of Sage's Mech Warrior Battle Pod, there was it was a fancy thing, but there was definitely a sit-down cabinet where you entered and you had two dual joysticks for this game called Virtual On. It was another mech combat based, but
Okay.
more in like the you could pilot your mech in the air and stuff. That was cool.
Was that like you sat inside like an orb, like a
Let
transparent orb?
me check.
That's what
that
comes
game
to
I-
mind.
I don't think people know that game either. No, it was your standard kind of like racing chair.
Dang, you
but
know
it
what?
had-
There was a really good Soul Calibur cabinet back in the day.
Oh, Soul Calibur cabinet would be good too.
But you could you had a login name and password, and the cabinet could hold all these names and passwords. And when you fought, you took over territory on like a Risk style map, and you picked what kind of team you were fighting for. I think there was like 4 factions or something. So the more people who played on the machine, you would be getting territory for your team.
That's cool.
So
Oh.
like my brother would get on the machine when we were at the mall, and he'd have like $20 on him, and he would just drop quarters in that thing until he had like reconquered all the territory. We go back like a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, and he would do the same thing, just go back. And they had a whole gigantic arcade, and every time he spent all of his time on that one machine.
I rescind my answers and I say Time Crisis 1 through 4. That's my favorite arcade game.
The Time Crisis games are awesome. Classic. Untold History of Game Developers is a treasure trove of retro knowledge. Pretty cool. The Untold History of Game Developers, Volume 5. Longtime readers of this site will be... Oh, it says longtime readers, so maybe this site's been around for a while. Be aware of the name John... Oh, boy. That last name. He's been a regular...
Yeah, John last name.
John last name. Has been a regular contributor to Time Extension since it launched almost a year ago. Okay, they haven't been around that long. Delivering some amazing long-form features on a wide range of topics, including Golden Ticket competition held by Nintendo and the story behind Street Fighter's oddest comic adventures. Recently wrote a piece on his quest to document the history of Japanese game developers, a crowdfunded epic which raised $75,000 and produced 3 utterly invaluable books and a 4th volume, which is made up of video footage. He's back with Untold History of Game Developers Volume 5, an enormous treasure trove of information which isn't just focused on Japan, but instead pulls together a lot of investigative journalism. Has produced over the past decade and more, a lot of which has remained unpublished until now. Again, we celebrate anyone who is making an effort to document all things tech and video games. I care more about video games than tech in general, but we celebrate them all. Pretty amazing. Look at that. $75,000 documenting Japan's gaming history, and it was quite the ride. Very cool. The range of topics covered within is truly staggering, feeding freed from the stipulation that only Japan's history gets represented. Spreads his wings. He talks about classic video game commercials, the rise of CD-ROM gaming, Panzer Dragoon Saga, the dawn of the internet, and the birth of the stealth genre, as well as speaking to industry legends like Ryan Payton, Jeremy Blostein, Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania, Victor Ireland, Working Designs, and many more. Admits that much of the book is merely a place for him to put into print much of the online work he has written during his career, but this is very much in the book's favor. You get such an what's that? Help me with that word, guys.
Eclectic.
I can't pronounce that word. I can hear it, but I can't pronounce it. Eclectic.
Yeah, eclectic.
Eclectic.
Yeah.
Mix of topics that turn each page is a thrill. Especially interesting is the fictionalized account of one man's journey through the world of British video game journalism. It's equal parts hilarious and deeply uncomfortable, mainly because it's clearly based on fact and actually happened. $30. I gotta say, I like this. I like this idea. Got fundraised to do a lot, and it's great because it is the history of the game developers, who they were as people, where their ideas came from. I've in the other ones, the three other books, I don't know which one it's in, but one of them covers all of the creation of the SNES era of Nintendo, and it is so cool. Like seeing the artwork of like what Yoshi looked like during concept, and just some of the powers they were going to give Mario and things that kind of got left on the cutting room floor. Seeing a lot of that stuff and kind of imagining like how different it all could have been. I like it a lot. So this is good stuff. This is good work, and excited to share this with y'all. The Untold History of Game Developers. What do you guys think? That's something you'd read?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably more like a picture book. Did they have any pictures? I mean, they got artwork like this in there, but
I mean, it just kind of goes in line with the video game historian, right? Kind of documenting and bringing spotlight to those typically not looked at whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, and that he actually went and found developers who have been out of developing for a long time and just sat down and chatted with them just for the book. Went to Japan, spent a lot of time there, picking brains.
Super dope.
That's yeah, what a journey. What an experience. That is a YouTube series I would like to watch.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was thinking.
And the cool thing is a lot of these developers, they still have they still have their own work. They have like some of their own panels, some of their own artwork. Different things that never got published, things that, were passion project to them but didn't make it out. There's even some, at least in the other ones, I can't speak to this book, but in the other books, there's a lot of mention and a lot of talk of games that never were. And it's interesting to think of like games that could have been like abreast of Mario or Donkey Kong. Because if you think about it, Donkey Kong was just a cabinet. It was just like, we needed a cabinet to send to the US. And we have a monkey that's kind of an asshole. We can't call it Monkey Asshole. The whole history of Donkey Kong's name is really funny. Because they wanted to basically use the word jackass. And they're like, translated to English as donkey. So funny. Donkey Kong's just asshole gorilla.
I wasn't aware of that. It's kind of like the cake by the ocean situation there.
Yeah, he's throwing barrels at you. He's just an asshole monkey. What are we going to call him?
Just
Donkey Kong. This is a really good article, too. This is like really, really long and was published. Was that about a year ago? Yeah. Pretty cool. highly recommend. Awesome. Moving on. The Art of the Box celebrates video games' most iconic covers. Kind of a similar thing, but it's artwork from retro games and a collection of not just the artwork, but who did the artwork, what was the game for. Some of them are alternative arts too, which I think is kind of neat. Again, I really do like peering into the what could have been. I think it's an interesting thing to explore.
Yeah, I think real quickly to add to your point, not everyone, a large majority of people know like the really terrible Mega Man or other sort of well-known botched artworks, but
my god,
seeing a lot of them, it puts it into perspective. Like it was not a one-off. Whoops, we did it wrong. It's everyone had the same idea.
Yeah. I like that. It's a big book too. That is a thick boy.
Oh wow, is that 350 artworks? That's crazy.
Yeah, 350 artworks. Let's read about it. Boutique publisher Bitmap Books. Did they link out to it? Yeah. So Bitmap Books, good website, great to go to. They make a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of these art books are pretty cool. So like this is like art from the Game Boy era. So not only do you get the artwork, but you get some history behind it.
That's actually really cool.
I love it because it's like, it's such a historical document for us gamers. If you want to know like how did we get here? If you ever ask yourself that question playing a video game, this is the kind of stuff you need to get your hands on. And this is definitely the sort of thing that like, I don't know. This is just for me. I guess some people don't do this, but it's very shareable. This is something that I would look through and read through feverishly for like a month, and then I would hand it off to fellow gamer.
I would probably put this on a bookshelf or our coffee table and talk about it.
Yeah, it's a great piece. Someone will find something that they like and appreciate here. The Secret History of Mac Gaming, Expanded Edition. The games that weren't. What was that?
Oh, I was gonna say like, the Mac edition. I think I played SimCity 2000 for the Mac. That was the first game I think I played on a Mac, way back in the day.
I think one of the most interesting topics within like retro gaming history is the games that weren't games. And I think I talked to you about this, Sage, that there was like prototype, I think it was Burger King, like a prototype Game Boy Color Burger King training game.
Yeah, for training new employees. Yep.
Let me see if I can find that.
The words you just said in succession,
they don't go together.
Confused me.
Let's see here.
We're gonna have like a modern day thing of that with like VR stuff, because a lot of businesses have been like, well, let's try this, put a VR training program for like retail and stuff like that. You can pretend to be a cashier, and see how you do in certain situations. But it's like a VR, it's gamified for VR. And I'm like, man, that software is going to be like gone in a few years, and nothing will be able to run it anymore, or it just won't exist.
For the DS, excuse me. Yeah. Oh, Kotaku did a segment on it back in 2022. So it's kind of fresh. Look at that thing. See that?
Oh my god.
The gaming preservationists over at Forest of Illusion recently got their hands on the holy grail of Nintendo DS catalog, a cartridge meant to teach McDonald's workers the ins and outs of the fast food restaurant via the popular 2-screen handheld. So I thought it was Game Boy. It was the DS. eSmart 2.0 was the part of a series of educational Nintendo DS pseudo games distributed to McDonald's locations throughout Japan in 2010, for the training of existing employees. A companion cartridge meant for new McDonald's hires known as the Crew Development Program, or the ECDP for short, was found and shared online in 2020. So that's what I'm saying. That is recent. That means this did not exist in the public consciousness for a decade, which I think is crazy. Let's see here. Yeah, there's a really cool YouTube video of a guy getting his hands on one of these. For basically collection purposes. But there's some interesting stories out there with games. I guess you could call it a game, sort of game, pseudo game. Good shit. So the let's see here. The art of the box celebrates video gaming's most iconic covers. Bitmap books. I got off the rails there. Coming in August, the art of the box will comprise 564 pages, packed with artwork, interviews, and features celebrating cover images from the past 4 decades. Fuck. If you fancy hearing more, then make sure you sign up for the company's newsletter. That's it. It's just a little blurb, but super cool. Love this stuff. Love it. Cool shit. So what'd you guys think of the retro segment, huh? Quite neat, I would say.
Yeah. Real blast in the past.
Brings a tear to my old wrinkled eyes.
Feels good. Soul
I
Calibur 3.
remember.
It may have been Soul Calibur 3. I have not looked at chat for a while, so I'm glad you guys are responding in chat, because I have the Discord overlay and the YouTube overlay and the OBS overlay.
Overlays.
Right. Yo, dog, heard you like overlays. Yeah.
Is that meme like archived now at this point? Is Pit My Ride no longer relevant in anyone's eyes?
Relevant in my eyes and always will be.
Thank you, Exhibit.
We
Sorry.
should do a Pimp My Ride segment. We should smash or pass all the cars they did.
You know what? Yeah, okay. I'd be down for that at some point in time.
They did I saw a follow-up video. A YouTuber did a follow-up on like as many cars as he could figure out, just going through the seasons, going through the episodes to try to figure out what happened to the cars. It was an insane number of cars that were not road legal. And
of course not.
the sheer amount of like people who at the beginning of the episode was like, they're like, so why do you got this junker? And he's like, I can't afford a better car and it gets me back and forth from work. And I need a new car, but this is kind of like my lifeline. And then they upgraded it to the point that it wasn't road legal anymore. So
yeah,
just forced to sell it immediately so they can get back and forth from work.
that feels bad.
Yeah, well, the employees weren't paid. That's really bad.
Really?
Yeah. The Pimp My Ride iceberg is deep. Way more deep than it has any right to be. Illegal workplace stuff going on. All right, where are we at? Final Fantasy XIV. Big news.
Huge.
The biggest of news. Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion, Dawntrail, revealed. The Dawntrail expansion is scheduled for summer 2024 release and will be available on the PS4, PS5, and PC, and the Xbox.
Yep. That's the most interesting piece of news regarding that, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Do they even mention it in here? I don't even think they do.
I think it's just a byline in the release notes.
The long-awaited Final Fantasy XIV Fan Fest kicked off on July 28th in Las Vegas, and during the event, Square Enix unveiled the game's upcoming expansion, Dawntrail, in a new trailer. You can check it out below. Dawntrail will be the 5th major expansion for the Final Fantasy XIV series and is set to be released in the summer of 2024. The expansion storyline will treat players to a much-needed beach vacation. The whole expansion's a beach episode? Just kidding.
Yeah.
As the game's main characters explore the tropical island of Yorza's new world, director Yoshida, I just know him as Yoshi P, shared his unwavering dedication to the game during the keynote presentation, stating, "I wanted to continue to work on the game until I die, or even afterwards." Boom.
Necromancer confirmed.
I would like to play this, but I guess they're not Nintendo, so it might be okay. Nah, that's gonna get claimed.
Oh, the trailer?
Yeah, the music I think is like too new.
You can always just play without the music.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Oh.
I full screened it. And stream can see most of it, like 90% of it. It's got a bit of a cutoff. I gotta say,
enjoying yourself for a change?
I don't care if they can claim it. You don't feel right to watch it without the music.
Sure.
I haven't seen this yet, so.
You're producing.
Ooh. I mean, it's a cinematic trailer, so.
So it doesn't really mean anything.
Lizard people, big monsters. I bet you they're gonna have new equipment, weapons, monsters, and locations. I bet you. Bet you anything. Do we get a new class peak?
We can get into that after the trailer's over because there's been some wild, but also really well attuned speculation.
Okay. It's kind of nice seeing the crew eating tacos and drinking Bahama Mamas after the shit they've been through. Headwalker was pretty intense, so. Dawntrail. Cool. I mean, you know, cinematic trailer doesn't really mean anything, but
No.
it was a nice trailer.
Yeah.
The adventure will take place in Turl, a distant land located in the west of Yorza. Players will be involved in a rite of succession, competing for the opportunity to determine Turl's next ruler. However, this content may introduce divisions among the Scions, adding a twist to the story. That'd be kind of cool. Dawntrail also introduces a new hub city, as it should, situated in the diverse region of Yogg-Turl. Players can look forward to encountering new allied tribes like the Word Pleplu, and enjoy various additions such as a level cap increase, new jobs, dungeons, enemies, gear, recipes, lifestyle content. In a significant update, the 7.0 patch will bring improved graphics to the game, enhancing the visuals in the environments and characters. I gotta say, I've been watching this graphical improvement update, and I am, so far with the screenshots we've seen, I have been very impressed.
It's a long time coming, but it's very good looking.
I was
Or
kind of worried. I was a little worried about it, that it would be sometimes I've noticed sometimes that games that have kind of an anime-esque look to them, that when the graphics get upgraded, somehow it's like the characters stay looking kind of old, but then all of the shading and the lighting effects on things like armor and abilities end up getting like massively pushed forward. And you end up with this weird like cross section of like 3 different generations of graphics being kind of overlapped in ways that are not complementary. Trying to think of what is it? Genesis? Something Genesis. It's another MMO. Can't think of it. But they made their characters look really weird. They went from like kind of neat anime characters to like over 3D'd it and over shaded it.
oh no.
And it just looks weird. Square Enix also announced an expansion of the free trial version to include all content from Heavensward to the start of Shadowbringers, allowing more players to experience the game's vast world. And that free trial version player base is huge. The
Yes.
number of people who play the game only in the free trial version is massive. And go ahead.
Oh, just rightfully so. I mean, it's just not to shill. It's just I wished I knew that beforehand.
I remember talking to some people because I play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. Love Final Fantasy XIV. Black Mage for life. I've heard people talk about this, and I agree with it, that they wish that there was a self-imposed cap you could put on. So you could say, like, I'm playing a Realm Reborn, and that's it. And the game would stop you from gaining levels, it would stop you from progression, and it would basically treat the rest of the content like it doesn't exist. And then you could enjoy that content and play that content with like all the level capping and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And then
like
when
a
you're
WoW classic thing,
what was that?
like a WoW classic approach to it.
Yes, but then when you're ready to move to Heavensward, you click that button and it opens you up to Heavensward, and then you can play as far as you want. That way, like, you can play the experience of doing like the relic weapons and things like that at the appropriate levels and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And I thought that was a really neat idea. Almost like if you're trying to be a completionist, it's like
Yeah.
you're consuming the game in these bite-sized chunks that are easy to digest. In a surprise finale, Phil Spencer, Xbox's head, joined Yoshi P on stage to announce that Final Fantasy XIV would finally be making its way to Xbox consoles. And a Fall Guys crossover is also on the way. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess they say that it's making its way to Xbox consoles, and then they don't mention it here. So maybe they're thinking that the Xbox port will be like, maybe in the 7.1, 7.2 patch or something like that. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Final Fantasy XIV is finally coming to Xbox in spring 2024.
So right before the release.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Give them 3 months to get through the entirety of the game.
It's like, oh, huh. All right. Well, that answered that question. Producer and director Yoshida made the reveal that the event, along with Microsoft's Phil Spencer, joined him on stage, blah, blah, blah. We got all that. There'll also be an open beta during patch 6.5, which is scheduled to arrive sometime early next
October.
year.
Oh.
Okay. However, there is no mention of it being added to the Xbox Game Pass. I mean, it'd be a little weird if it was, but I wouldn't be against it. Just profit sharing and because the stinking mogul website is awful. Ugh. All of the websites involving Final Fantasy XIV are terrible. I really appreciate the update that they did. Was it last year?
I think so.
They added a bunch of updated guides and things like
Oh yeah,
that.
yes,
That
yes.
that was awesome. That was great, but the rest of it, garbage.
Yeah,
Sage,
a little slow in upkeep.
Sage, did you ever play Final Fantasy XIV?
I did not. I really haven't touched many MMOs outside of World of Warcraft and EVE Online.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I wanted to get into Final Fantasy 11 back in the day, but that was tough to do without a PS2 with the online connectivity BS stuff you had to do with it and all that. And then 14, I don't know. I haven't really gotten into any of the modern Final Fantasy games. I think the newest Final Fantasy game that I own isn't even a mainline Final Fantasy game. It's Tactics A2 for the DS.
Tactics is one of the best. So good. Love the
I
Tactics.
would play an MMO if they made a Tactics MMO. I would play the shit out of that. Let me tell you what, son.
I'm so confused why there's not why someone has not taken the Tactics model and made a big ass competitive style game, not based on anything, not a big story or anything like that, but just an arcade style big game, almost like the League of Legends of Tactics style game or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Feels like a missed opportunity. I would like to build up an army or something like that, or teams and go conquer territory or some shit. So the same kind of concept, but it being this big sprawling tactical map. I don't know. Love tactics games. So Ochre, how you feeling? Final Fantasy 14, where you at?
Big fan. I started in July of 2021 at a whim. My friend said you should try it, and then I said, I like Sage. I'd only ever really played WoW beforehand, and then I was instantly hooked. Everything about it. Big fan of music, art, game design. Real excited for the new expansion. Only because, not only because, but like we said, it's a well-needed break for the story, and. I don't know. It's become my hyperfixation, so I guess I'm a little bit biased here, but I truly enjoy everything about it.
Nice. It's I think there's very, very few games, especially MMOs out there, that have the sheer amount of diversity in gameplay. What gameplay is available. At first, I kind of thought it was kind of a by the numbers sort of MMO experience, but once I started getting into Palace of the Dead and into the PvP, which after the PvP overhaul happened, I actually really started to enjoy it. The mount farming, obviously, the dungeons, the raids, the trials. I love the concept of the trials being separate. You get
Yes.
all of that good feel of a boss fight without any of the dungeon. It's just, can we do this complex boss fight? The savage raids and stuff like that are a little outside of my league. That's just because of the time commitment of getting a group together and working at it. Am I thinking of the right thing? Extreme tiles. Savage trials?
Well, Savage is harder than Extreme, and there's the Ultimates, which are, as you can imagine, Ultimate.
Right. Okay, Savage trials then. Or whatever it is.
Well, there's normal and extreme, and then Savage goes to raid. So there's still both 8-man content, which depends on what you're referring to.
Well, either way, all that stuff was way out of my reach, even though a lot of the mounts and stuff you could get from those looked amazing.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
just too much for me. I did, however, get extremely into chocobo racing, and when I was streaming 14, I was spending a lot of time doing that.
That's something I've not done. I've done it one time just to fulfill it, but I don't actually do it actively.
There's a pretty good video on YouTube by the content creator Lord Glarp, which covers everything you may need or want to know about chocobo racing in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, I'll check it out.
Just throwing that out there.
but can you make them breed?
You can, and you're supposed to.
Oh yes.
My chocobo was so crossbred, the thing should have had like 13 legs. I mean, it was just, yeah. The inbreeding was.
This is for your own good.
Yeah. Because you're trying to farm mutations. Final Fantasy XIV's latest crossover is an unexpected one, and probably like the most unexpected thing ever. During the Final Fantasy XIV Fan Fest, producer and director Yoshida announced an unexpected crossover between Final Fantasy XIV and Fall Guys. That'll bring content from Final Fantasy XIV to Fall Guys and a new Fall Guys-inspired minigame to Final Fantasy XIV. Thanks to the Fall Guys blog post, we know the Warriors of Light crossover in Fall Guys will begin on August 22nd and introduces 8 new costumes. During the event, players can purchase the following costumes. There's a list of them. The only one that I see that looks interesting to me is the White Mage one. That might be fun. Fat chocobos are good. I do not. I don't like looking like a named character in anything, even if it's for silly reasons. I don't know what it is.
That's fair.
Besides the skins, not much is known about the event, but based on previous crossovers, it's possible that a Final Fantasy XIV map or mode will be introduced. I hope so. Maybe a jump puzzle type thing, because that's pretty popular in 14. Meanwhile, the 14 event will be a part of the 6.5 patch, which will arrive sometime next year. To activate the game, the player will have to visit the Gold Saucer, and once they start the game, they'll have to avoid a series of traps while racing to a finish line like you would in Fall Guys. Okay, so it's very Fall Guys-y. An obstacle course where one person gets to the end in Final Fantasy XIV would be very interesting. So let's pop this. We shall pop it as though it were something that were very warm.
It's hot.
Hot, yeah. Yay, Final Fantasy stuff.
Big fan.
Oh, I like the Chocobo outfit. I like the Dragoon outfit. That's funny. Yeah, those are super fun.
Big fan of Namazu. They're my favorite beast tribe.
Okay, I like it. I was trying really hard to wrap my brain around what it would be like, and I like it. Not bad, not bad.
Oh wait, they put the Mandeville most gentlemanly pose in that. Amazing.
Was it? Did I miss something?
With the Dragoon flex, he did the.
I've lost the article. I've lost it. Fall Guys? Yeah? Nope. Okay, well, it's gone. Don't know where it went. How did this happen? Oh well. Yeah, I guess I didn't see about any of the other stuff. That does make sense though. I wonder if they're like put some of the dances in there. Iconic. Yeah, this has a list of the things that. Yeah, here we go. So this is for the upgrade of the free trial. Restrictions to bear in mind, though, considering it's a free trial. You can only carry up to 300,000 gil. Can't use the shout, yell, or tell chat options. You can't use the market board. You're unable to join a free company. It's kind of like a guild. You can't create link shells, essentially group chats, but you can join them. You can't use the party finder. Oh, to recruit party members, but you can be invited. Okay, good. Whew. I thought they were saying no party finder at all. I was like, oh, dirty. awful. No PvP. And you can't access jobs or races that were introduced in Shadowbringers or Endwalker. I don't know. I think to someone from the outside looking in would say that's a lot of restrictions, but that is like, it's like 4 times the content that free trial people. I mean, how many hours worth of gameplay is that? 300 hours?
Yeah, I was gonna say something like that. And that's only if you do MSQ, rushing into whatever you can do. That's really...
I always thought, like, for PlayStation players, it probably feels bad to pay for your, like, PlayStation subscription, buy the newest version of the game, pay your Final Fantasy XIV tax. It's like, by the time you get started playing, let's say, what's the cost of, like, new expansion?
I think $40.
I wanted to say it was probably around $40. So it's like 40, 50, 60. I mean, you're probably looking at close to $70 by the time you get through the door. And that's to play like old content that none of your friends are going to be on. And it takes you so long to catch up that I think this is good. You don't got to worry about buying the game. You don't got to worry about paying your monthly sub. You can jump in and you can just play the shit out of the story it's like, now that you're 300 hours in, would you like to pay for the game? Sure.
Exactly.
Like, you can still group up with your friends. You can still do the party finder, from the receiving end. No one's getting over 300 gil in the first couple expansions. I mean, not as just playing through anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Really cool. Awesome addition, and an amazing idea for them to do that. Got any more on the topic there, Ochre?
Well, I was gonna say, without getting super into it, are you looking forward to this beach episode?
To the beach episode, I am not looking forward to it.
Why is that?
I am not looking forward to it because I think they're going to put so much time and resources into making the game look better, revamping like every ability, every spell. Because if you're going through and you're upgrading the visuals of everything in the game, you're also going to rethink everything in the game. Like, are we going to, like, let's say a summoner, if they're like, we're going to upgrade the Bahamut model for the summon and the Ifrit model, let's say. I mean, they're going to upgrade everything. So
right.
We're going to upgrade all these models. Do we want to rethink how the summoner is played? Because you don't want to spend a bunch of resources and time rebuilding things that you may not use anymore. They're increasing the level cap, which means more abilities. And that also means they're probably going to put some on the cutting board. I think the game is uber inflated for PlayStation players. If you're playing the game with a controller, the game feels very inflated ability-wise.
Oh, yeah.
So as you expand the game more, you got to do something with those abilities. Now, we've seen quite a few abilities get reworked and certain abilities get taken away and kind of condensed into already existing abilities and stuff. So the reason that I don't have excitement for the expansion is because I'm excited for all that graphical stuff. I'm excited for the balance. I'm always excited to learn new abilities. I mean, I'm a black mage, so I'm a glutton for punishment. Like, yay, add more things to my rotation.
Right.
I like all that, but I think what's going to come out of that is a subpar expansion.
I see.
And since they're going into a new direction, new story, basically starting the story from the beginning to a certain way of thinking. But you're dragging all of this familiarity, all this fan service with you. I mean, the thing is, they have not swung and missed yet, so I don't think it will be a swing and a miss. I think that's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of time and attention and focus on updating the game. So I think that this could be the first subpar expansion we see, because it's it's too much butter and not enough, or excuse me, there's too much bread and not enough butter for it.
I see.
And that also means that in your development funnels, you're going to have all these bottlenecks. You can't design the raids until you have all of the new abilities balanced and figured out. You're not starting on the new abilities until you get figured out which ones you're keeping. But I don't know, that's just, I might be being a little pessimistic in that, but I am extraordinarily excited to play it. I just don't know that the new story is something I'm excited about.
I see. It makes sense.
What I would really, 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 really like to see is a more grounded story. I want like a Realm Reborn story. And it kind of sounds like they're going that direction. So
yeah, this is the chance to start. Now that they've ended that long running,
I am very sick of Magitech. I am completely exhausted from Magitech. If they don't include Magitech in any of the expansions from here on forward, I'd be okay with that. It's just I don't want monitors and cables and screens and teleportation devices. I'm over that. I'm over it.
I could do with less the Garlean Empire.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it was right there from the very beginning. We didn't even really grow into it. It's just always been there. I just think it's, especially in Endwalker, I was really thinking in Endwalker they were going to get away from it. A little bit. I don't know. I was like, on the moon, there's no tech on the moon. And it's like, look at this starship on the moon. And I'm like, fuck. Dang it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a spaceship on the moon. I'm ready for a more grounded story. To put it. Yeah. How about you? You excited about it? Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, I do enjoy the new content. See, the problem is I had just joined when Shadowbringers was on like 5.3, and a lot of things have changed quality of life at that point. So I got in when the getting was good.
Yeah, that's an awesome time to have started.
I haven't experienced a lot of fatigue in that way, but I do just like seeing where they're gonna put the characters and I was caught off guard by the pacing in Endwalker, and I thought, oh, we're doing this. Oh, we're here now, and now that sort of those stakes are lower, I'm excited to see where they go. I'm excited to see how our characters evolve and all that stuff. It's genuinely kind of an optimist. I'm sorry, not optimist. That implies I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Heck yeah, I was so confused after Endwalker, and they said that they were going to keep going with the story, even though like it had wrapped up, and I was like, are we going to have like a Dragon Ball Z Super problem where it's like,
I hope not.
Where it's like we've killed gods at this point. We've been to the end of all things. We've peered into the abyss. We have found entropy incarnate, and we have slain the beast we found at the edge of reality. And it's like, now we're sailing to an island and we're gonna kill hamsters, or just like,
yeah,
it's like the, what do they call that? There's a term for it.
Power creep.
It is definitely power creep, but your ability to believe something fictional because it's kind of anchored in reality.
Jumping the shark, I think, is the
jumping the shark, suspending disbelief. All those things become way harder to do, and I've noticed every single MMO I have ever played. Aside from City of Heroes, they all have that problem of like, you go on this quest and you do this amazing thing, and it's like weird that like the Murlocs on the beach have 5 times more health than Illidan Stormrage did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like,
I was about to say exactly that.
I just got killed by a crab on the beach, you know, but you're like, I've killed Arthas. I've killed the Lich King and a crab got me, you know. And there's just something about it that kind of, you can only like wash, rinse, repeat, reset so many times.
My immersion, yeah.
And and Final Fantasy XIV, I don't feel like has really done that too much to me personally. I kind of get that feeling, but I'm wondering if this expansion will really kind of, you know, I just have to pretend I'm a new adventurer. But they're bringing all the old people with, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I'm looking forward to the third wing of the Alliance raid. That's all.
Lots of dragon stuff. So much dragons. All right. Y'all ready for this final segment? Y'all don't know anything about this final segment.
Let's go for it.
We had no notes.
Ooh, it's a surprise.
Oh, and you guys got to remind me to share the thing. I forget that when I close the screen, it doesn't go to the next one. That way you guys can follow along. I've just pressed the like button 8 times. Amazing.
Ooh.
The more you push it, you get a ticket for every time you've pressed it over 1. Just saying. You know, like pushing the beeper to get across the street.
Yeah, exactly that.
Do that for me. I need y'all to go out and make 20 YouTube accounts and subscribe 20 times. Hasbro's AI aspirations include a partnership with a novel digital board game platform. The collaboration will leverage Teberu's smart sensing technology and artificial intelligence. Cool. We've been talking about AI so much. I'm almost sick of it. But then every time I read or hear about something new, they pull me right back in. I'm sick of hearing about it, but please tell me more. Hasbro, the publisher of Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, and dozens of classic board games, will partner with Explored, makers of the Teberu digital board game platform. The Rhode Island-based company said Monday in a news release that the collaboration would help to explore the integration of smart sensing technology, AI, and dynamic multimedia. We envision a future where technology seamlessly integrates into analog gaming experiences, said the general manager of Hasbro Gaming in a news release. Working with Explored enables us to deliver innovative gameplay to our players and fans, limitless digital expansions to physical games, seamless onboarding, and powerful AI-driven game mechanics. Explored leapt into the tabletop scene in 2022 with its crowdfunding campaign for The Bad Karmas and Curse of Zodiac, a miniatures-heavy board game that also included an early version of its novel Teberu platform. Using RFID tags, Bluetooth, and smart devices like phones, tablets, and televisions, Explored successfully proved out its technology in the consumer space. Polygon gave it a test drive last year and was a bit taken back by how well it worked from our feature story. Let me see here. Does this show off the game? It's actually really cool. The tabletop portion of it. Copyright claimed music. Whee! Here we go. Claim my podcast. I dare you. So they're not really showing anything. They're just whipping the camera around at 100 miles an hour.
That's my favorite way to do it.
So the tablets can read the dice. So they roll physical dice and it knows like what numbers are up, that sort of thing. Yeah, that was garbage. What a garbage video. It's really interesting. It's really interesting tech. While everything in our 2022 demo was pre-generated by developers, with the recent rise in popularity of generative AI, it's easy to see how program like ChatGPT could be used to expand on existing board games. Hasbro could also choose to leverage the technology in other areas, including with its in-development virtual tabletop solution for Dungeons & Dragons. A partnership with Explored gives Hasbro the hardware and connectivity it needs, as well as the design expertise required to make the next step possible. It's also important to note that leaders of both of these companies have deep roots in the world of video games. Hasbro CEO Chris Cox is a former Microsoft employee, as is the new president of Wizards of the Coast, Williams. Yep. So basically, they created a tabletop game that uses these miniatures, and each of these miniatures has like tech in their base, and the dice that you roll also has tech in the dice. So you're supposed to have a tablet set up, and you roll the dice, it knows what you rolled. But I think the idea moving forward is also supposed to be like things like barcodes, like hidden barcodes in like trading cards, that you'd have your trading card mat out. You'd put your, you'd actually draw your physical card and you'd play them out. But it would keep track of things like hit points and damage and things like that. So you can have a bit of a more complex game that's a little bit beyond like, your third grade math level, while not getting rid of the analog portion of the game entirely. I am actually not sure if I like this or not. I understand it, but I don't think I like it. Thoughts?
Go ahead.
No, you first. You're the guest.
I think it's more novelty than evolution. I don't know. I think we are still in the like incubation phase of the next stage of how to streamline tabletop games. I remember seeing previous versions of tabletop technology, or where it's all done by projection, and it can sense the object space and all that stuff. It's cool, but it seems really out of reach right now. Like there's not a good way to do it. Also, I just understood their brand name, Tebaru. Like the word table with a Japanese accent, which is kind of off-putting.
Tebaru. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but I think right now it's just novel. You gonna say, Sage?
It's I don't know. I feel like it's hard to say. I haven't played too much like other tabletop stuff other than just kind of a bog standardish D&D. It seems like they're just trying to take out the it's not like streamlining the management of the tabletop game, right? So if you as a player have to think about some of your roles less directly, I don't know. It's I feel like it's too kind of in between. Like if you're going to do tabletop, do it full on. Like I need a pad and a pen, and my character sheet is actually like 5 character sheets.
Right.
Like go full in on the experience of the paper shuffling and trying to find the rule for your perk for your combat. Like, yeah, that does kind of slow the game down. But I don't know. It's like if you want a streamlined experience, simplify the game itself, not the management of the game.
Yeah. One little thing I'm going to add to that actually is by, I won't say making it visible to all players, but one of the things you kind of remove is the option to improv, be it as a player or as in D&D's case, a DM. You know, there are plenty of times, I'm sure, where you wished you could have either fudged a roll or gotten a good roll, and suddenly now it's been advertised to everyone. It kind of removes the original, or I can't think of the word I'm going for here, but the I think part of the chaos of the shuffling of papers and dice falling off the table adds to that social aspect. And by making it above board, it feels like you can't ever have that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. Smell what you're stepping in.
That's a new one.
I don't think I like it just because I just like I don't like what it is. I would rather like that was that joke, that meme, this meeting could have been an email. Yeah. I look at this and I'm like, this game could have been like just all on the phone. And if me and my friends want to sit around and play a board game, like, I don't want us all to be just playing on our phone. This feels like you're just playing on your phone.
There's not really a need to have techified this.
No, like the game itself, I think all could have just been a phone game, the whole thing. I mean, like, you're rolling physical dice and you're moving some standees, but I feel like those two components are like not enough to make it interesting to me. Which may be basically what you both were saying. It kind of sounds like all three of us are in agreement.
There's a common theme there, yeah.
It's like one of those like yeah, you can do it, but should you do it or why? However, it was quite popular. People, 11 backers backed it at over 1,100 euro. They were aiming for 200,000. They got it at 311. So there's at least enough people who like the novelty of it, the idea of it enough to have backed it. And the models look really nice. I will say that. Like, these models do look pretty great. And it looks like they have a few different types of games. I think each mat is its own type of game. But I don't know. It's a little wacky for me. I don't know. I'm not Now I will say this. If someone made a set of D&D style dice, your D20, your D12s, all that stuff, and they link that with like something like D&D Beyond, so you could roll the physical dice, but it would track everything in the app, I'd be okay with that. Just so it's like, I wouldn't require it. I wouldn't require someone to do that. But if someone just wanted to, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because a lot of that D&D Beyond stuff with rolling the digital dice is it scans your whole character sheet and all of your abilities and all of your items to make sure that you're getting the proper pluses and minuses. And then if you wanted to roll a physical dice and click on, let's say, your attack, and it just does all that math for you just for quickness or whatever. I like the tech as a optional accessory more than like a full-fledged game. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'd even call, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. I would kind of call BS on that almost. Like, how is that actually even AI? Rather than just like you're using some very basic tracking, putting some numbers in a thing.
This is not AI. They didn't claim that this was either.
Well, what? Okay, so wait, what? Wasn't the original article saying that it was?
So the original article is that Hasbro hired the company that started this. So they haven't revealed yet anything that they've done in conjunction with Hasbro.
Oh, okay. So we're just not at that point then. Okay.
No,
yeah.
Hasbro wants to take like what they've been doing and inject it into their pre-existing IPs. And they included Magic the Gathering in that, which is, I don't even know. I almost see it working with a card game better than like a board game. If you're simply just trying to track numbers easier or something. I don't know. I kind of like my analog, my digital, you know? I don't.
Yeah.
I
None
don't.
of this 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The fridge is either open or closed if you're just going to be standing there.
Right. Now, if you brought me a truly complex like card game, very complex, and it was using like insane levels of strategy, and like you just needed this tech bit with it to keep track of like tons of moving pieces, almost like the, you know, Risk on steroids in card format or something, where you couldn't imagine playing it without the tech, I would actually give into it more on that level, because then you're presenting me with something that's new and interesting. I might not love it, but it's new and it's interesting and it's beyond my capability. You know, something like that. I don't even know what that would look like. But yeah, there you go. That's it. Hasbro's AI aspirations include a partnership with a novel digital board game platform. They even called it novel. Have you guys heard of the new Fallout TV series?
No.
Oh.
You're about to.
But I don't wanna.
Hear me out. It's coming to Prime Video, but it's by the creators of Westworld. I am a big fan of Westworld. Their storytelling, their production value, very good.
They just claim that Westworld is one of the vaults.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be crazy. There's like people walking around and they turned Fallout into one of the Westworld parks for video game fans to go live out their fantasy of being in Fallout. Brain explodes.
I mean, it follows from Fallout 3 that one of the vaults is literally a simulation.
Right. That's one of the best side quests in Fallout history. That little freaky kid, the little murder kid,
who's actually an adult.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yep.
They're just living in a nightmare. A TV series based on Bethesda's Fallout game series is coming to Prime Video, and now some new images and videos from the set have emerged. The account that shared the videos stated that this footage might be months old, but it only just emerged now. Many Hollywood productions are currently shut down for the ongoing writer and actor strike. There isn't too much to go on from this leak, but we do see the famous Vault-Tec logo and some retro cars, and this also fits the style of Fallout. The scene playing out in these leaked images is taking place on a large outdoor set that appears to be a real place as opposed to a soundstage. So we can poke these real quick. Spoiler alert. Not much of a spoiler, I would say. The only thing I was interested in is seeing costuming. But this obviously is supposed to look like post Fallout, right? This looks all dead and shit. Yeah, the car's all fucked up. Okay, so that's post. I was kind of wondering if the TV series was going to take place pre the bombs going off. Oh yeah, definitely post. Interesting.
I was gonna say, like, it better not be like who cares pre-bombs going off? It's just like,
I mean, for like 2 episodes or something.
okay, as long as this, yeah, I'd be like, oh, it's Fallout. That's not Fallout.
It was like one of my, I mean, even though it was very short, I really enjoyed the way they did that in Fallout 4. That you get to like walk the neighborhood and stuff. And go running
that you
to the
look the
vault.
event.
Yeah, it's seeing the nuke go off in the distance, just really, really good.
It is a good segment.
There you go. So there's not much, but this was, I kind of wanted to throw this in here just for anyone who didn't know. I didn't know. There was a Fallout TV series being produced by Kilter Films, the production company run by Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. Back in 2021, Joy offered a small tease on the series. Oh. Small tease? By George, there was a small tease. Okay, yep. Hardly worth looking at. Saying it's just a gonzo, crazy, funny adventure and a mindfuck like none you've ever seen before. I like that. Mindfuck's a good word.
That's high praise.
The first official image from the Fallout TV series was released in 2022. There's no word yet as to when the series will premiere. However, Walton Goggins, Sons of Anarchy, and Kyle McLachlan, Twin Peaks star on the show. Let's see here. Official image. There it is. There's the official image, guys. Enjoy.
Isn't that from Spider-Man 2?
Oh, I like that someone zoomed in that there is definitely a dead person on the ground right there. There's just a pair of feet. Maybe like this guy's shocked. This guy has a broken neck and this person's knocked out. So I'm assuming our protagonist has forced his way out of the vault. Vault 33. I don't know if we've ever heard anything about Vault 33. Ah, no, spoilers.
It's like Vault 66, but cut in half.
Yeah, it's half the vault you'll ever be. The Fallout TV series is one of a handful of upcoming video game productions in the work at Amazon. Amazon signed DJ2 Entertainment, the first look deal to create gaming content for Prime Video, including potential adaptations of Life is Strange and Disco Elysium. Interesting. As for the Fallout game series, Bethesda's Tom Howard has already gone to discuss Fallout 5, but don't expect it to be here anytime soon. And then we have what? We have Borderlands, live action Borderlands movie coming out. I don't remember when. Disco Elysium, what an interesting game to choose. Or, yeah, I think it would actually be really good. Disco Elysium was a very, very, very interesting game. Hasbro wants old Transformers games to return, but Activision lost them. What was it? Released June 2010, Transformers War for Cybertron was a well-received third-person shooter. Do either of you play that? War for Cybertron?
It looked good, but I never got a chance.
It was excellent. It was a excellent game. It's one of the only Transformer games I've ever played, too. Did you ever play that, Sage?
I don't think I've ever played any Transformers games. I don't think.
It was just a really good story and first single player experience. Just really good. I don't know about Darkspark. What made the first two games so memorable and beloved was that they told their own stories about the origins of popular characters like Megatron and Optimus Prime. That is why they were really, really good games, because they really took you through the whole like origin story. Yep, very, very good. While featuring kick-ass combat that included the ability to transform into different vehicles. Sadly, in 2018, all these Activision published Transformer games and several it commissioned from other developers were yanked from digital stores, making them hard to acquire and play in 2023. Seems that Hasbro now wants to make a change, suggesting the game would make a perfect fit for Xbox Game Pass once Activision finds them. In an interview with Transformers World 2005 posted July 28th, Hasbro talked about its new line of video game-inspired Transformer action figures. Some of these new toys are based on designs first seen in the Activision Cybertron games. So naturally, the site asked Hasbro about the possibility of re-releasing these popular games alongside the new toys. Unfortunately, that won't be happening. Sadly, apparently Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in their building. Hasbro told TFW 2005, when a company eats a company that eats a company, things get lost, and that's very frustrating. Kotaku was inquired with Activision about the Transformers game's current status. It's very interesting that Hasbro wants these games to come out and that Activision literally lost the games. The OG games are no more. Or at least no one knows where they are.
They're out there somewhere in a landfill right next to ET.
It's very strange. Hasbro further added that the company hopes the merger between Xbox and Activision will lead to people digging through all of the archives and every hard drive to find the old games and bring them back. Hasbro even added that it thinks these games could make easy choices for Game Pass. It's so interesting. Remember when that guy found one of the original World of Warcraft hard drives? One of the original classic hard drives? Like he had it at his house or something? So weird. We basically wouldn't have got World of Warcraft Classic if that one dude didn't find that one hard drive that had like all the original like WoW 1.0 code on it. You with me, guys? You still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just didn't have a lot to say about the subject.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So about games going missing, you know, our it's so weird for them to go missing. This is a funny one. Fallout 2 New Vegas mod replaces Tech Bro antagonist with an AI created Elon Musk.
Perfect.
Perfect in every way.
Yep. Ship it.
You don't get really much more. Oh, good.
Oh, just the Elon House mod makes me laugh.
You don't really get much more on the nose than this, but a new mod for Fallout New Vegas replaces the in-game character Mr. House with the real-world character Elon Musk. First spotted by Kotaku, the Elon Musk mod created by no username selected takes some cues from a pre-existing New Vegas mod which pulled the same trick with Mark Zuckerberg back in 2020. There's one twist here, though. The New Vegas Musk is an AI creation. In the game, Mr. House runs the Strip, one of the big New Vegas locations, and depending on your actions can be friend or foe. I was foe, and I opened his pod and I killed him. Essentially, do what he says and you're golden. Refuse to be a good dog and he'll come for you. House is presented as a tech visionary and in a way one of humanity's hopes, but unfortunately believes his own hype on the extent of deciding the rebuild civilization must exist under his sole command. You also communicate with him entirely through looking at a screen. Let's see. The likeness of Musk is recognizable and in keeping with New Vegas aesthetic, while the voice lines can be heard in the video game and are deliberately a little robotic. No username selected added this effect on top of the AI voice because, oddly enough, they reckon the original results were too real as well as crystal clear. It's so weird that he had to distort the voice because it sounded too much like Elon. So here, we'll watch this. So crisp.
Then this meeting has been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Wow.
Ways, literally, and I suspect figuratively as well. I have to ask, now that you've reached your destination, what do you
that
make
is
of what you see?
uncanny.
Yeah.
Of course you haven't. Vegas always was one of a kind. What you see down on the Strip is just a fraction of the city's former glory.
Wow, that's
and yet,
so good.
more than an
It's
echo,
too
I
good.
preserved its spirit. Or perhaps you were referring to the Lucky 38? The years haven't been kind to her, but still she manages to impress.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's almost making me
Don't be
feel
coy.
weird listening
You've
to
been
it.
playing a high-stakes game ever since Victor dug you out of the ground. Don't be afraid to admit it.
And this is with distortion.
The business is this. One of my employees has stolen an item of extraordinary value from me, and I want it recovered. Simple enough.
That is wild. I wonder if
My
they
only concern is
changed
the recovery of
the
the platinum chip. What happens to Benny, I leave to your discretion.
I almost can't
When you
think
bring
while
the
I
chip
hear
to
his
me,
voice
I will pay
going.
you 4 times the delivery bonus stipulated in your contract. How's that?
It's kind of like
Is that an attempt at humor? I've
does
always
Elon
taken
sound like
business
AI or does
negotiations
AI
very
sound like
seriously.
Elon?
I advise you to do the same.
Right.
Well enough. Return to me when you have the platinum chip in your possession. Any final matters for us to discuss? Until then.
Man,
That
is wild.
Well done.
No notes from me. None. Wow, I almost want to go play New Vegas just to
install it.
play that. I think that might be one of the most clean uses of that AI generative like voice being like implemented into something. That's so clean. Yeah, I get now why he said he had to deliberately make it more robotic. It almost doesn't sound robotic enough. I really had the Elon picture just from messing around in Stable Diffusion a few weeks ago. No username selected, said to Kotaku. The rest was basically just figuring out how to rip the game's voice lines open, transcribe them with OpenAI Whisper, voice them with Elon's AI voice with 11 Labs, and put them back in the game. The overall API and subscription costs were only a few dollars for about 600 lines transcribed in voice. With the right know-how, this kind of content is surprisingly easy to create. How easy? The modder had used most of the tools before and obviously had the image ready to go, but the process of recreating the audio and putting it all back together less than 24 hours from start to finish. That's crazy. If you're getting a bit uneasy about this, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the next generation of AI tools will bring that number down to 14 hours.
You just speak to the AI. You go, I need you to change the code in Fallout New Vegas and the voice to match Elon Musk. And it goes, okay. Like 13 seconds later, done. You don't even have to do anything. It just spills the code out in front of you. It just does it. As Todd Howard would say, it just works. If you're getting a bit uneasy about this, it's probably not just Musk that's doing it. This is something of a novelty mod, sure, but it does everything it sets out to do with good production values, and fundamentally a self-taught modder has put together a thematically appropriate and well-realized representation of a public figure in a game. You don't have to have an opinion on whether this is good or bad to find it pretty remarkable. True enough. I mean, really, truly, if you have like a voice model, I mean, oh man, you could really just voice an entire video game.
It was more
Pretty
than just
quickly.
voicing. It's like swapping out a character for like a real life person. So imagine, right now they're just using like a flat image, right? And the voice thing with it. But what if they were to get an AI generated like video game model for an actual character in the game, and an AI generated as a real person. So it's like, all right, you're playing like something silly, like you're playing Jack and Daxter, and you're just like, you know what? Let's replace the model of the bad guy with, Yao Ming, like a basketball player, and you tell the AI to do that. To like, I need a model of Yao Ming compatible with a PlayStation 2 game. and then it generates the model, puts it in the game, and you just tell it to do that. So it's not just like a picture you had lying around. It does like literally all the work.
I've personally plugged into OpenAI to help me with coding in Unreal Engine 5. And I've said, I just explained verbally. I just talked into my microphone because I do voice to text with ChatGPT. And I was like, this is the problem I'm having. This is what I've tried. And then I copy and paste, a bit of technical code. Then say, hey, can you help me? And it'll just list out like potential fixes, things to double check, all that stuff. And there's been times where I've just asked it to write me code, and ChatGPT will actually open up a code language, and just start writing for you, which is, it's a little bananas, but it seems to me that like I have restrictions on how much I can use mine. I can only use ChatGPT 4 for like 1,000 tokens. I'm pretty sure it might be 2,000 now. But if it was completely open and I had no restrictions on it, I could very easily like pull up something like I could say like, use assets you find on the internet, use open source 8-bit assets and make me a video game comparable to Super Mario Brothers in this coding language, go. And it would just do it. It'd probably be a shit game, but it's crazy to think that it would just do it. I could even I could feed it, like ROM data. Be like, make me a new ROM. Make me a new Pokemon game. An original story. I want it fully voice acted though.
I mean, really, it's just the next logical step from the rise of games like Minecraft and shit, where there's like procedural generation. Like it's just AI generated is just the logical next step after that. Applying it to more things rather than just the map, you're applying it to voices and story bits and all just we're automating life.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, eventually, it gets to a point where you're like, the AI could know so much about you as a player, too, by just observing you play and watching how you play and learning about how you play to make sure that you get the optimal gaming experience as you're playing. Crazy. Crazy. How y'all doing? Ochre, how you doing?
Doing great.
Doing good? Feeling good?
Yeah.
Sage, you doing good? Feeling good?
Feeling the vibes.
Nice. I vibing too. Yeah, I don't think you guys can hear the music I'm listening to, but the lo-fi I got playing in the background is making me very sleepy. But that's it. That was our last segment. That was our last topic. I feel like I already know what Sage is going to say.
Well, what? You don't know. I could have been about to say something about like, oh man, I'm so sad there wasn't a fourth topic. We could keep going.
Oh, I figured you were going to mention our nation.
Oh yeah, that is our fourth topic, isn't it?
Always. If we have time, which we do.
Yeah.
Ochre, do you know about our nation?
I'm gonna say no.
We have a nation, a country we've been building slowly. I'll share my screen with you. So we have the Trade and Raid podcast, the community of Trade and Raid, and this is our country. And we are given issues, and we have to decide how we want to deal with these issues.
Oh, okay.
I am to the belief that there is basically nobody in chat currently, so we might not have to vote on it. It might just be the three of us delegating. What is this? The dialectics of dialects? A few days
Ooh.
ago, a tourist from Morankaland was hospitalized due to a severe allergic reaction after ingesting street food in Chat City. It turned out he had asked the local vendor about the ingredients, but had been unable to understand her heavily accented reply. The accent has stirred up a debate over what to do about the wildly different dialects of trade and raid. And then there are 3, in some cases 4, some cases 5. But there are 3 responses to this issue, and we decide which one we want to go with. Or we dismiss the issue altogether. Everywhere I go, I see tourists struggling to understand the many different dialects in use in this country, moans Whoopie-O, your tourism minister. So how about we help them by printing a guidebook? That way the tourist and the locals can communicate with each other more easily. Plus, profits from sales of the book would obviously benefit the nation's treasury. Oh, God. Out you go with that rubbish, scoffed Sidney Penna, a resident of the city in the far north of Trade and Raid. We don't need to be pandering to you tourists. If you can't understand what is we're saying, then do ye really think you should be coming here with the begging with? She taps her head with a finger. Think on, leader. Think on. I like it. And the third one is, I reckon banning tourists from not being able to speak the dialects is downright preposterous idea. Splutters Hosa Watts, your Minister of Education. It is high time that we formed a committee of linguists and dialectionologists to develop new curriculum to make sure every citizen ditches their vernacular language and learns the standard variety instead. This will make language instruction much easier both for our own students and for foreign learners.
Tell me an administration and not an actual educator.
What was that? Sorry. Oh, I see. Minister of Education. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have no idea how much that will not work.
What do y'all think? 1, 2, or 3?
I'm going for 1.
Oh, wait. Are you guys in chat?
I am.
Cool. We'll do it this way. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Now you can vote in chat.
Oh.
The X is to dismiss the issue altogether.
Just, no.
Oh. Oh. We have a tie currently. Currently tie.
Does that make you the,
Oh no, I flip a coin. I don't decide on anything.
Heads, you live. Tails, you don't live.
Heads 1, tails 2. Heads. We're going with 1. The official trade and radian phrase book weighs as much as a small child. Nice. What do we got here? Develop a thriving industry. Develop a thriving tourism industry. Our Bella Potter productivity E index went up 7,800%. There's a lot of book publishing going on.
wow.
Food quality went up about 10%. Not sure why. Tourism went up 7%. Where'd we go? Charmlessness went down. Taxation went down. This seems as though a good thing happened.
I would say so.
We should do one more. What do we got? A whiskey rebellion, circus clowns, jobless fair, or budget time?
Budget time accountant's excited. That just seems like a really amusing title to me.
Yeah.
Let's hit it. It's time for the government to allocate spending for the coming year, and as always, special interest groups are keen to have their say. Ooh, we have 4 options. The state of the education system is, in many areas, simply frightful, says teacher union leader Zeki Pond. And even where we are going well, we could do better. I appeal to the authorities for a substantial boost to funding. Remember, the children are our future. Number 2, we won't have a future unless we improve police numbers and rebuild the military, says General Darius Wickwire. Oh, it's all well and good to have your fancy education and your nice cars until some tin pot dictatorship decides to invade, and don't pretend like there aren't any of them in our region. Our number one priority has to be security.
War never changes.
Nice. Nice. That was good. Timely. Education is nice, but health and social welfare are more important, says celebrity social worker Jennifer Jarian. This is where the people who really need government help are, the marginalized of our society. If we don't help them, what kind of nation are we? Number 4. Hey, I've got a crazy idea, says noted librarian and bird watcher Neil Lawson. How about the government stops taking so much tax from people? Give us a tax cut and we'll buy the things we need ourselves. People need to be weaned off the government treat. Or teat. The teat. The government teat.
Govern teat, if you will.
Ooh. So how are we going to spend our money? I was expecting the last one to be like, your cousin says you should put it in your pocket. We're traders and raiders. And I think a good military is needed for raiding and trading, but mostly for raiding.
And if it's the first thing, we'll say it's the second thing.
I'm a trade and radian. A yellow or purple blooded or something like that. Trade and radian. Go ahead and vote in chat, somebody. Truly, I only need one vote. I can't have a 4-way tie of 0.
Let me reread these choices again.
I think it's, education, war, health and social welfare, and tax cuts.
Hands off my taxes, he said.
Alrighty, it's going to be down to another coin flip. Heads 1, tails 4. Coin flip. Heads. We're going with 1. What was that again? Education. Large-scale revitalization of the education system is underway. Wage rises put spring in step, money in pocket. Tourism industry braces for influx. Government bigger, better, officials say. International body praises trade and radiant development. Address 15 issues. Hey, nice. Public education's up 35%. Scientific advancements up 8%. What we got here? Crime went down 12. Weaponization down 5. Sounds like good shit to me. So then, Ochre.
Yes.
At the end, all of this shit in here changes as we deal with issues.
Oh.
So currently, our civil rights are excellent, our economy is developing, and our political freedoms are rare, and we are categorized as a corrupt dictatorship.
I was going to say at the very beginning of this, wait.
The community of trade and raid is small, socially progressive nation renowned for its suspicion of poets. The cynical population of 20 million trade and radians are ruled with an iron fist by the dictatorship government, which ensures that no one outside the party gets too rich. In their personal lives, however, citizens are relatively unoppressed. It remains to be seen whether this is because the government genuinely cares about its people or if it hasn't gotten around to stamping out their civil rights yet. The medium-sized, well-organized government juggles the competing demand of defense, education, and welfare. The average income rate is 23%, and much higher for the wealthy. The developing trade and radiant economy, worth 710 billion subs a year, is broadly diversified and led by the tourism industry, with major contributions from arm manufacturing, gambling, and automobile manufacturing. State-owned companies are common. Average income is 35,000, and distribution extremely evenly, with little difference between the richest and poorest citizens. Fruit pickers with degrees in chat psychology are a common sight. Unpackaged foodstuffs rot on store shelves, and the official Trade and Radiant phrase book weighs as much as a small child, and a large-scale revitalization of the education system is underway. Crime is almost non-existent. Trade and Radiant's national animal is the chat, which frolics freely in the nation's many lush forests. There you go.
Much improved over digging around in the garbage.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. I think it's very interesting that we have extreme civil rights and no political freedom with an extraordinarily fair economy. Like, how did we do it?
Just means you can have your cake and eat it too sometimes.
Yeah, unless it's mine, because I'm assuming I'm the dictator.
You're the dictator.
So this is how people are dying. 87% of our citizens die of old age, which is amazing. 5% lost in the wilderness?
Is that also considered an act of God because it's the same percentage?
I don't know. It was either God or the woods, one or the other.
I wonder how you would specifically increase like death by acts of God. Like select policies that make your civilization, your people more like anti-religious or something.
I don't know.
Everyone
Yeah, that's a
gets,
good point.
So they start getting smoted.
Yeah, everyone gets lightning rod in their front yard. No reason.
It's kind of interesting when you look at our government expenditures. I mean, defense is pretty high. Education's decent, but it's kind of, I would say this is not, it's well spread out, I would say. Decently.
It's well diversified.
There you go. There's the word. What was this? Economy? Private industry is 57%, state-owned 20%, government 20%, and a teeny tiny little black market. And then we're not. I figured we wouldn't really worry about the rankings until we've been kind of in this for a little bit. But I will say, being in the top 12% of cheerful weather, nice compassion, civil rights, income equality, these are good. I mean, these are nice places to be. Where are we like the worst in? Foreign aid, international artwork. Yeah, we haven't done anything with any of this stuff. World Assembly endorsements. Yeah, we haven't messed with any of that crap.
We're just making here a nice place. Baby steps.
Baby steps. Yeah, we just got here. We just do a couple at a time. Call it good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. I'm not going to force it to go any longer. That's what she said.
Got him.
It was absolutely fantastic to have you on, Ochre.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
It was good. It was real good. And Sage, as always, uber appreciate you, and couldn't do it without you.
I keep these stations running.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, boy.
And thank you for all of our chatters in and out and people who are watching this afterwards. I've noticed that these it's almost like a week or two after they come out, they just jump in views. I don't know why that is. I did notice a pretty big jump when I started cutting up the videos and linking back to the podcast. So I will be getting better at that. I'll get on that. I'm like 5 or 6 podcasts behind. So yeah. And if you're new here, like, subscribe, all that shit. And come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. EST for more Trade and Raid podcast. Ochre, do you have anything for the people?
No, I'm not Personally, I'm not a self promoter, but yeah, so stop on by 3 times a week. 3 times a week is what's the word? Delicious privilege. Most podcasts are once a week, if not 2.
That's what I'm saying. I've gotta put it out. Not only is it 3 days a week, but it's between 2.5 and 3 hours 3 days a week. Yeah, getting it done. Got no life. Sage, you got anything for the people?
It's better than drugs.
Do you guys remember Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
They had the log song. It's log, and their slogan was "It's better than bad."
It's better than bad.
They're like, "It's better than bad. It's good." I'm like, nice, better than bad. That's what I would say. That's how I would describe the Trade and Raid podcast. It's better than bad. It's better than listening to the same podcast at work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's at least better than that.
At worst, it's indistinguishable to white noise.
Nice.
Like, it won't crap in your ear. You just might forget it's there.
On your second screen, every now and then you might hear something that vaguely interests you. That's all I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Why do we talk so much shit about our own podcast?
Look, it like when Morbius came out, right? It's certainly a podcast of all time.
Yeah, I don't want to be the Morbius of podcasts. That's worse than good. It's bad.
At
It's
least you're more
morbid time.
self-aware.
Yeah.
At least you're more self-aware than Jared Leto.
True, big true. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for being my guests on the show, co-hosts on the show. Thank you for everyone watching, and we'll catch you
Wednesday,
the 2nd of August. See you then.
Peace out.
I forgot to tell you, we go black screen for a few seconds.
Oh,
That way we don't cut ourselves off at the end of the podcast.
Why are we whispering?